an archipelago of two main islands sitting 13,000 kilometers from the British mainland, administered by the United Kingdom since 1833, home to 3,200 people, and claimed by Argentina for nearly 2 centuries, the Falkland Islands have returned to the center of international attention in 2026. Not because anything has changed on the islands themselves, but because the political relationships surrounding the dispute have shifted in ways that have not been seen since 1982. Argentine President Javier Milei has made public statements claiming unprecedented progress on the sovereignty question. Reports have emerged that the Pentagon prepared internal options for reviewing the long-standing U.S. position of neutrality on the dispute. And U.S.-UK relations have deteriorated over disagreements tied to the war on Iran. This video walks through the history, the current actors, and what any movement in this dispute actually means in practical terms. The competing claims have deep roots. In 1690, English Captain John Strong sailed through the channel between the two main islands and named the territory after Viscount Falkland. France established the first permanent settlement in 1764. Spain purchased the French claim in 1767. Britain established continuous administration in 1833. Argentina's claim rests on its assertion that it inherited sovereignty from the Spanish crown after independence in the early 19th century. Britain's claim rests on the continuity of its presence and, most concretely, on the 2013 referendum in which 1,513 out of 1,517 eligible voters chose to remain a British overseas territory, a margin of 99.8%. That London references in every subsequent diplomatic context. The 1982 war is the defining event in the modern dispute. Argentina's military government seized the islands in April of that year. British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher dispatched a naval task force. After 74 days of fighting, Britain retook the territory. The human cost was 655 Argentine and 255 British servicemen killed. The Argentine military junta collapsed shortly after the defeat. Every Argentine government since has formally maintained the sovereignty claim, but no government has pursued military means to enforce it. What has varied across administrations is the tone and the diplomatic approach. Milei, who took office in December 2023, leading the Liberty Advances Party, initially drew criticism from political opponents who argued he was insufficiently assertive on the Falklands. In a 2024 BBC interview, he distinguished his approach from predecessors who made loud sovereignty declarations without results, stating he preferred effective negotiation over political performance. That framing shifted in recent weeks when Milei stated publicly that Argentina was making progress on the issue at a pace not previously seen. He provided no specifics. The timing is notable. According to the Americas Society/Council of the Americas approval tracker, 61% of Argentinians currently disapprove of Milei, his lowest rating since taking office. The relationship between declining domestic approval and sharpened rhetoric on a nationally resonant issue is a pattern visible across many political contexts and worth registering here without overstating its significance. The external variable that gives Milei's positioning unusual weight is his documented relationship with U.S. President Donald Trump. The two have met multiple times. Milei is a regular presence at conservative political events in the United States. Trump has publicly called Milei his favorite president. The relationship has produced concrete policy outcomes. Ahead of Argentina's 2025 legislative elections, the Trump administration extended a $20 billion currency swap facility to help stabilize the Argentine peso. That is a significant intervention at a sensitive political moment, and it reflects the genuine personal and ideological alignment between the two leaders. The more consequential development, however, involves internal U.S. policy discussions. Reports indicate the Pentagon prepared a memo presenting Trump with options to apply pressure on allies deemed insufficiently supportive during the war on Iran. Among the options, reviewing the U.S. neutrality position on the Falkland Islands. The backdrop is a deterioration in U.S.-UK relations. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer initially declined to authorize American forces to use British military bases for strikes on Iran. Trump publicly criticized Starmer by name. Britain's King Charles III and Queen Camilla traveled to the United States this week in a visit described by UK Ambassador Christian Turner as an effort to renew and revitalize the bilateral relationship. Secretary of State Marco Rubio subsequently sought to downplay reports of a position change on the Falklands, but the underlying memo has not been officially denied in detail. Benjamin Gadon, director of the Latin America program at the Stimson Center in Washington, offered a precise framing of the situation's limits. Any resolution of the Falklands dispute requires persuading the British, not the Americans. Washington does not hold or administer the islands and cannot transfer sovereignty it does not possess. What it can alter is its diplomatic posture, shifting from neutrality toward a position more sympathetic to Argentina's claim, which changes the international political environment without resolving the legal question. Consider the first scenario. The U.S. formally revises its neutrality and signals support for renewed sovereignty negotiations. Britain faces increased diplomatic pressure but retains the 2013 referendum result as its most durable argument. No American policy shift changes that democratic record, and the islanders themselves have expressed their preference with near unanimity. The practical effect would be a more hostile diplomatic environment for London on the question, not a transfer of the islands. In the second scenario, Rubio's downplaying reflects the actual outcome, and the Pentagon memo functions as internal pressure signaling toward London rather than genuine policy recalibration. Milei receives a moment of political visibility on a high-profile national issue. US-UK tensions continue through other channels. The Falklands dispute returns to its baseline state of unresolved but inactive. Watch three things: whether the Trump administration makes any formal statement revising or reaffirming U.S. neutrality on Falklands sovereignty, whether Milei provides specifics on what progress he claims Argentina is achieving, and whether the King Charles visit to the United States produces any measurable improvement in the bilateral relationship between Washington and London. The 3,200 people living on those islands have already recorded their preference. The question in 2026 is whether the diplomatic environment around that preference is about to become more contested than it has been at any point since 1982.